especially on the East Coast, there's been a lot of folks who have had snow days. With most of the East Coast dealing with such a major snowstorm that they've had this past week, I think a lot of people are concerned about whether or not an employer can require you to come into work. And here is your answer. Here's a couple questions. Question number one. Can your employer require you to come into work even if the roads are hazardous? And here is the answer. Yes, your employer can require you to come to work despite severe weather. That being said, a reasonable employer, and even an employer that isn't generally reasonable in other situations, will make allowances for employees who cannot safely make it in. But if your employer is requiring you to get to work and you do not believe you can get there safely, or if authorities are telling you or people in your community to stay inside and off the roads, you should push back and point out the safety hazard, trying to say something like the roads need to be, the road I need to travel to work, you can't drive on them now, this, that, and the third. Now here's the next question that a lot of people out there are probably trying to figure out. What if your company says you should use your own judgment when deciding whether or not to come during a severe snowstorm? Will it look bad if you stay at home? And here is the answer to that question. If you can't drive safely, take your employee's guidance and at face value and stay off the road. Here's the next question. If your office shuts down for a snow day, must you still be paid? The answer depends on what your job is classified at. Are you exempt or a non-exempt employee? If you are a non-exempt employee, someone who is required to be paid overtime when you work more than 40 hours in a given week, and your office closes because of a storm, so you don't have to work those days, your employer is not required to pay you for those days. Some employers will pay you anyway, but the law does not require them. If you are an exempt employee or you're salaried, and if you work any portion of a week, your employer must pay you your full salary for the week, even if the office is closed on that day. Now here's the next question for you. If your employer shuts down for a snow day, can it require you to use a vacation day for the time, even though it wasn't your choice to stay at home? The answer to that question is yes. If your employer can indeed require you to use a vacation day when the office is closed for weather, even though it is often frustrating to the worker who doesn't really see these days as a waste of time. However, many employers choose to cover that day off for everyone rather than forcing a person to use their vacation days. One last question for you that you probably need the answer to, right? If you work from home on a snow day, do you still need to use vacation days? If you're working a full day from home and that day's work, and you're doing that day's work, you should not have to use a vacation day because you're indeed working from home. And the last question that people are asking about these snowstorms and what to do with your employer, here it is. If you're already on vacation, your company shuts down for a snow day while you're away, are you still required to use a vacation day for that time? That's up to your employer. It definitely depends. Some companies might require you to use a vacation day since you weren't going to be working that day anyway. Others might say it's a snow day for everybody, so it's not considered a vacation day. Just depends on your employer. But it's very important that you stay informed.